So it's finally here, Master of the Universe Revelation, and I've got to say, since the trailer, the amount of negativity that's poured over the show has been significant. That said, I've tried to remain completely unblinkered, stayed away from a lot of particularly the recent reviews, and this weekend I've taken a look at the first part of the new series, and in retro ed style, I'm going to give you the 4 things I love, 4 things I think are pants, and really, has it got the power, or did it leave me feeling sour? Let's find out. So in the good pile, you've got an abundance of original characters, and they literally pop up all over the shop, and not just the He-Mans and the Skeletors and the Man-at-Arms, Beastman, Evil Lyn. You've got Mossman, Stinkor, Scareglow, some of the more peripheral characters. More front and centre in this, which is just awesome. As well as that, you've got a fantastic array of some of those original vehicles. The Bashosaurus makes an appearance. You've got some Rotons, which I think the UFO type things that fly around. I think it's in the 5th episode. It's phenomenal. So that nostalgia just hits you right in the sacks. And talking of sacks, another good point happens to be Evil Lyn's testicles. Not a reproductive woke spoiler, but instead it's Evil Lyn having a cheeky swear when something backfires. The new series is edgier, it's more violent, there's a bit more of the red stuff. It's no longer the 80s, there's probably as much knife play here than there is in my local high street. So in this one I actually quite liked Orko, which was a bit odd. In the original one he was a bit of a floating, peeping Tom type character, pretty bloody annoying. This one, he's got a nice plot line, quite an endearing kind of fella. You find out a bit more about his past. All works pretty well. And that was the 4 goods. So as you probably gathered, I was clutching at straws completely. So here's the bads. The first one, and it's the obvious one. It's the Teela show. If I wanted to watch the adventures of Teela, Kevin Smith, be a bit more transparent. Don't disguise it as He-Man and all the posters and all the Netflix stills. I think it's misleading. If there was a new Thundercats and then I watched a couple of episodes and I thought, Christ, am I watching the adventures of Wile E. Kit or Wile E. Cat, I'd probably be a bit peeved. So another thing I find wrong with the new series is Prince Adam's small head, and again it's not a sexual reference. His cranium is disproportional, and things perhaps are a tad woke these days, but small-headed He-Man is wrong. And as soon as he powers up and turns into He-Man, then it looks like Sid from Toy Story 2 has had his wicked way with him. It is just bizarre. Unfortunately, the next poor point happens to be the plot, which regrettably is kind of a crucial ingredient in any story. For this one, it just fell way too short of the mark. I'll keep it spoiler free, but the twists were pants. They were more akin to The Village than The Usual Suspects. In order to do the thing they needed to do, that's travelled to 2 places, and even from getting from one place to the other, there was some magical wall or window which they got through. There was no spaceship, no time machine. It was like the animators were given the day off. It was absolutely laughable in my opinion. And I really hope if they're given the opportunity to sit down and do part 2, that they're given a stern word, they're sat perhaps on the naughty step, given red pens, and if needs be, they really rework that part 2 until it's right for TV, right for release. So the final poor point is around keeping it in the family. And I've got a lot of respect genuinely for Kevin Smith. Absolutely love, Clerks, Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. He's done some amazing things, been involved in some equally amazing things, but you don't give your kid, a job. Well, I don't think you should, particularly in that kind of industry. And his daughter voices one of the characters, Ileana, and I just personally, I don't think that's on. So in summing up, it's a thumbs down, unfortunately. I think it'd be refreshing to reboot an older TV show or film, but just not in this way. Weak plot, pretty misleading marketing in my opinion. However, it's not all glum in Eternia. There was some nostalgia kicks in there. Thought Evil Lyn and Orko were pretty fab. Characters were good, storyline was not. Will I be watching the next part? Yes, I will, but I'll be praying they get it right. Cheers.